He wasn't just good, he was a mind-reading genius. This kid, Stu Ungar, could look at your cards and tell you what you were holding. By 16, he was beating grown men out of serious money. By 26, he was a world champion. But here's the shocker. The same brain that made him millions at the table couldn't save him from losing everything. So here is the unbelievable rise and heartbreaking fall of the greatest card genius poker ever saw.
There's nobody that ever beat me playing cards. The only one that ever beat me was myself with my bad habits. But when I get to playing like I was on stroke this tournament.
Stu Ungar was born in New York City in 1952. His dad worked at a bar and loaned money. The family didn't have a lot, but they lived close to gambling. Cards were always around. By age 10, Stu had already won his first big card game, Gin Rummy. He was so smart he skipped 7th grade and dropped out of high school by 10. He just wanted to play cards. That's all. After his dad died and his mom got sick, Stu started playing to help his family. He was still a teenager when he met Victor Romano, a card-playing mobster who became his protector. Stu was a tiny guy with a sharp tongue. He needed protection, but on the card table, he didn't need anyone's help.
Amarillo Slim and Texas Dolly, 33 players with £2,000 each, and the last man in wins.
Bill Jackson was a poor old dub who joined the Darktown Poker Club, but cursed the day told him he would join. His money used to go like it had wings if he held queen.
Now comes the move. By the mid-1970s, Stu was the best gin rummy player in New York, but he was so good that people stopped playing against him. He had no one left to beat. So he packed up and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, the city of bright lights and big games. There, he crushed more gin games. But again, casinos asked him to stop playing. Why? Because no one else wanted to join tournaments when they saw Stu Ungar's name. He was just too good. So what did he do next? That's right, he switched to poker. In 1980, Stu entered the World Series of Poker, WSOP, main event. It was only his second poker tournament ever. He had never even played Texas Hold'em before that year. Guess what happened? He won. At just 26 years old, he beat poker legend Doyle Brunson and took home $365,000. The poker world was shocked. A babyface kid just beat all the old pros. But this was only the beginning, a beautiful fate leading to a tragic end. How did it all unravel? Then came 1981. People thought he might be a one-time wonder. Nope. Stu came back and won the WSOP main event again, this time beating Perry Green. He won $375,000 and became one of only 4 players in history to win back-to-back main events.
Best amateur and professional poker players. Hello, everybody. This is Kurt Gowdy from Binion's Horseshoe, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, for the 12th annual World Series of Poker. And they're here from Texas to New York, from California to Alaska, from overseas, all here, both men and women, to determine who'll be the new world poker champion and big bucks at stake. We'll be back here in Binion's Horseshoe in downtown Las Vegas as the 12th.
Because of his young face, they called him The Kid, and he wasn't done yet. In the same year, he also won a different WSOP tournament, playing deuce to 7 draw. 2 years later, in 1983, he won another one, 7-card stud. Together, those wins earned him over $200,000. People were calling him a genius. Some said he could even see into other people's minds at the poker table, and they weren't really wrong. But while Stu was winning on the outside, things were falling apart on the inside. After his mom died in 1979, he started using drugs. At first, it was just to stay awake during long games, but then it got worse, much worse. Stu married a woman named Madeline in 1982. They had a daughter, Stephanie, and Stu also adopted her son, Richard. But sadly, the happy family didn't last. By 1986, Madeline left him. She couldn't take it anymore. Stu would disappear for days, playing cards, doing drugs, making crazy bets. He just couldn't live a normal life. Stu wasn't just addicted to cocaine. He was addicted to action, betting on anything. He lost money on horse races, sports games, and even pool. After so many disasters, it seemed like Stu was done losing. But believe it or not, there were still victories waiting for him, big ones. Then, one friend said he bet big on things he didn't even understand. It didn't matter what it was. He just needed to feel the rush. His addiction made his body weak. By his late 30s, people didn't think he'd live much longer. His nose was damaged by drugs, and he looked sick and skinny. But still, he couldn't stop. Then came the crash. In 1990, Stu entered the WSOP again. He started strong. By the third day, he was the chip leader. But he never came back to finish the game. Why? He overdosed on cocaine in his hotel room. Even though he didn't play another hand, he had built such a big lead that he still finished in 9th place. He won $25,050 without even being there. But this was not a comeback. This was a warning.
Of New York City landed at the final table once again after a 10-year absence. He received $25,050 for 9th place. Next up.
Fast forward to 1997. Stu was broke and sick. He didn't even have money to enter the WSOP. But an old friend, Billy Baxter, believed in him. Billy gave him $10,000 just minutes before the tournament started. Everyone thought it was a waste. But then, magic happened.
120,000. Now at this point, Stewie's well aware that the last time John bet out, Stewie wins the tournament. Looking at a picture of a very happy 14-year-old girl. This is Stu Ungar's daughter, Stephanie, and I know that you played very hard today, and one of the reasons was for this little girl. I haven't seen her for about 7-8 years, but she's a very beautiful young lady.
Well, I appreciate it, Gabe. Thank you. I called up last night. She says to me, Daddy, I'm going to disown you if I don't win the tournament. And I said, Stephanie, I love you too much for you to disown me. I said, I'm going to win the tournament, and it's for you go on loving me. I guaranteed a victory, and I proved myself worthy of it.
Stu played like in the old days. He had a photo of his daughter in his pocket. He called her every night to tell her how he was doing. That picture kept him going, and he won. Yes, Stu Ungar, the Kid, won the WSOP main event for the third time. Only one other player in history had done that, and that guy didn't even win his first title by playing. Stu did it the hard way. He split the $1 million prize with Billy Baxter and proudly showed his daughter's photo on TV. They called him the Comeback Kid. But sadly, it wouldn't last. In just a few months, all the money was gone. He tried to stay clean for his daughter, but the addiction was too strong. In 1998, Baxter offered to pay for him to enter the WSOP again. But Stu said no. He felt too tired, too weak, too ashamed. People saw him begging for money outside casinos. He had holes in his clothes. His nose was so damaged he couldn't snort cocaine anymore. So he started smoking crack. He even got arrested. A man who once won millions was now crashing in cheap motels and eating junk food. In October 1998, another friend, Bob Stupak, gave Stu $25,000 to help with his debts. But it was too late. In November, Stu was found dead in a rundown motel on the edge of Las Vegas. He had paid $48 for 2 nights. The room was dirty, and he was alone. The cause? Heart failure is caused by years of drug use. The coroner found cocaine, methadone, and Percodan in his body. He had only $800 in his pocket. That was all.
Beloved father, Stuart E. Ungar, September 8, 1953, November 22nd, 1999. A great person, but a greater loss.
Genius at the table. People say that if the word genius fits anyone in poker, it's Stu Ungar. He won 3 WSOP main events. He played in only 30 big tournaments and won 10 of them. He earned close to $30 million in his career. Once, Bob Stupak bet him $10,000 that he couldn't name the last card in a shuffled deck. Stu did it. No joke. He said, 10 of diamonds. And he was right. He had a mind like a computer. Fast, sharp, unbelievable. But outside the card room, he was lost. Beyond this, Stu Ungar loved black and white movies. He liked history and once said he would have become a lawyer if he hadn't been a card player. He loved his daughter. He just couldn't be the father she needed. He never grew up. He never learned how to live without the thrill. One of his friends said, "Show me a good loser, and I'll show you just a loser." Stu only knew how to win, but in life that wasn't enough. He won millions, but died broke. Stu Ungar was a genius, but even the smartest person can fall if they don't take care of themselves. Winning money doesn't mean much if you can't stay healthy or be there for your family. But his story reminds us that sometimes the hardest game of all is life. If you want to hear more tragic and legendary poker stories, click right here. You won't believe what happened to some of these players. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story like this one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.